What is going on, everybody? Greg Ehrenberg here from OddsShopper, and we're going to be breaking down some bets using the tools we have over at OddsShopper. And if you guys want access to these, we've got a 7-day trial. It is totally for free. You can get access to by clicking on the link that we have right below this video in the description box. And I'm going to show some of these tools on screen right here. So this is a market-based algorithm. If you guys haven't watched this video yet, the way that our tools work is that we are taking all the different lines available at the different sports books. We have a weighted algorithm, which is going to apply different weights depending on how historically accurate each of these individual books have been. And this is going to give us a fair line. And from that, we're looking at all the different lines that are available on the different books and identifying some of the plus EV bets and the best available line at the different sports books that are available in your area. And for today, I'm focusing on the NBA games. We've got 2 play-in games with the play-in tournament starting. Really looking forward to these games, and we've got some bets that are projecting pretty well out here, even though it's only a couple of games. And part of that is because the absence of Rudy Gobert creating some extra value. So let's jump right into this. And if you have any questions for me, we do have a Chalkboard channel. It is totally free to download the Chalkboard app and totally free to get into our channel. And myself and Lofty, we answer questions, sweat bets, and then also post some additional bets in there. So go check that out. Free, and we have a link below in the description box. But let's start looking at some of the best available bets for tonight's games. And one of the ones that's on the board here to start, DeAndre Hunter, under 4.5 rebounds against the Miami Heat. If you look at some of the other lines that are available for DeAndre Hunter, minus 158 points, but definitely a little bit of an outlier. The next closest available line is minus 156 on FanDuel. And I would consider that to be a playable line as well if you guys are just on FanDuel. But look at some of these other lines. Minus 160 on DraftKings, minus 160 on BetMGM, Unibet. Bet Rivers have it minus 175. So definitely some reduced juice on the minus 150 number that's available on Hunter for under 4.5 rebounds. Points bet line there. And yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And something that we do have to consider as we get into these play-in games is some of the core guys are going to play more minutes for these teams as the games are higher leverage. But I don't think that means DeAndre Hunter is one of the guys that plays upwards of 40 minutes for the Atlanta Hawks. I think that we could see extended minutes from guys like Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, Clint Capella, but I'm not sure that DeAndre Hunter is one of those guys that all of a sudden starts playing 40 minutes. So I like under 4.5 assists for him. On the other side of somebody who I do think could be playing more minutes than they got in the regular season, Austin Reeves really came on for the Lakers towards the tail end of the season. And it's hard to say that there are benefits to an injury, but one of the silver linings to LeBron James being out and missing a bunch of time, and same goes for D'Angelo Russell being out for the Lakers, Austin Reeves got a chance to play extended minutes. He really shined. He played really well down the stretch of the season, and you could bet him over 3.5 assists at minus 160. That's also available at points bet. Compare that to some other books that have it 4.5. Caesars actually is over 3.5 assists at minus 213. DraftKings has it at minus 185. So minus 160 for Austin Reeves on over 3.5 assists. That's a pretty good looking bet. Here's another one. Onyeka Okongwu over 13.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. Not a lot of books have PRAs up for Okongwu quite yet, so I'm going to look past this one until we get more data. Something that you will find looking at OddsShopper throughout the day is that as the day goes on, a lot of times we're going to have more accurate data as more books start posting information. Only a couple books that have the lines up right now for Okongwu. Here's one that stands out to me as well, and I think there's actually a couple of Timberwolves rebound props for key players. Yeah. Anthony Edwards under 7.5 rebounds and Kyle Anderson under 8.5 rebounds. I think this is an overreaction to Rudy Gobert being out. So obviously, he leads the team in rebounds. He plays a massive role for them on the glass. But with that said, we still have Karl-Anthony Towns there to slide into the center spot. And now players take more roles that are similar to what they had last year or even earlier in the year when it was Karl-Anthony Towns out and Rudy Gobert at center. And we've seen these rebound lines just so inflated. Kyle Anderson at 8.5. Like I said, we've got also then Anthony Edwards at 7.5. And if you look at the numbers for these players this year with Gobert off the court, yes, the rebound numbers go up, but not enough to justify how wide I think some of these lines are. So, for instance, Anthony Edwards this year, his rebound rate goes up by 0.8% this year with Rudy Gobert off the court. Actually, the same number for Kyle Anderson goes up by 0.8%. So I know that there's no Rudy Gobert. Maybe books are also pricing the fact that Karl-Anthony Towns is officially listed as questionable, but Cat's been listed as questionable every game for weeks now, basically ever since he came back from injury. I don't take it all that seriously. I find it very unlikely that Karl-Anthony Towns is actually going to sit out tonight's play-in game. I know the Timberwolves suspended Rudy Gobert, but this injury situation with Karl-Anthony Towns, I think he's good to go. I don't really find it to be all that concerning. And assuming he does play, Kyle Anderson under 8.5 rebounds, best available line is at DraftKings. See some other books, FanDuel, PointsBet, both have it at 7.5. The other books that have it at 8.5 do have it more heavily juiced. So I like Kyle Anderson under 8.5 rebounds. And then similar situation with Anthony Edwards. Over under 7.5 rebounds. I think 7.5 is too wide of a number. FanDuel has it at 6.5. PointsBet, 6.5. And then the other books that have it at 7.5 have it juiced much more heavily. Minus 154 at Caesars, minus 155 at Bet River. So I like taking a look at Anthony Edwards under 7.5 rebounds. I think that's a very good bet to be placing. And then Taurean Prince to a lesser extent as well. He has an over-under of 4.5 rebounds and the best available line also at DraftKings. And one thing you're seeing here pretty consistently with these Timberwolves rebound props, FanDuel has these lines posted a full rebound less than what's available at DraftKings. Now, I understand these lines are a little bit juiced at DraftKings, so it's not actually a massive difference between the two. But even the books that have the same line, look, 4.5, minus 145 at DraftKings, but it's minus 154 at Caesars, minus 150 at BetMGM. So Timberwolves creating a lot of value in the absence of Rudy Gobert because I think the books are overemphasizing how that's going to impact some of the rebounds for other players. Looking at some of the other players from the Heat Hawks game. Let's see. Sadiq Bev. He's only got a PRA available at Caesars, really nowhere else. One other one from the Lakers game, Anthony Davis has an over-under of 42.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. And that's at FanDuel, 42.5. You see other books. DraftKings is at 41.5. Bet Rivers 41.5. Caesars 41.5 with similar juice. So you're getting that extra point there from FanDuel. So I think the under there makes sense. Under 42.5 PRA for Anthony Davis. That is best available at FanDuel. Let's look at PrizePicks now. So we'll check out some of the PrizePicks stuff that we have available in our projections. And yeah, just stuff for today, which is good. I wasn't sure if we were going to see a bunch of props also pop up for tomorrow's basketball games, but just today. So that's nice. And looking at some strikeout props here as well. We just focused on basketball while we're looking at some of the other props, but also baseball lines that are available. Garrett Whitlock over 4.5 strikeouts. Corbin Burns, boy, he struggled to open up the season, but 5.5 strikeouts. That's a really low line over at PrizePicks. Then you got Bam Adebayo under 32.5 PRA. We've got Caleb Martin for over 7.5 points. Gabe Vincent over 13.5 PRA. And then Trae Young for under 9.5 assists in that game tonight against the Miami Heat. So overall, this is a 6-leg flex parlay, and this is going to pay out with a 25% expected ROI, winning 3% of the time. 3% meaning 3% that we hit on all 6 of those picks. So a little bit of an overview of tonight's NBA games. Let me know below what you guys are looking at in terms of bets for today. And then also, if you want to check out all the tools we have here at OddsShopper, we've got our parlay tool. We've got picks for basically every single sport in there now. We've got baseball, basketball going on. UFC is in there. Golf is in there now. Check it out. Totally free 7-day trial by clicking on the link below. And that's going to do it for me today, guys. If you haven't done yet, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Good luck with all your bets, and enjoy the basketball games tonight.